Yes, Your Honor. Melissa Vachon on behalf of Mr. Ford for the purposes of arraignment while he appears separately by video.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Ford. Could you state your name for the record, please?
Yes, Your Honor. My name is Michael Anthony Ford.
Okay, thank you. So we are here today, sir, for an arraignment. And at an arraignment, I read the charges against you with the maximum possible penalties. And we don't allow you to say anything. There's a reason for that. You are innocent in the eyes of the law. And we don't let you say anything that could come back to haunt you later. It looks like we just lost the public defender. So we're just going to hold for a minute. There we go.
Not sure what happened.
I understand. All right, so Mr. Ford, we don't let you say anything because you are innocent in the eyes of the law, and we don't let you say anything that could come back to haunt you later. So that's why we don't let you speak. Second, we do this because you have a right to know the charges against you. You can't really defend yourself unless you know what you're accused of. So that's why we have this hearing. It's not to waste your time or make you feel bad or put stuff up on YouTube. It's because of the rights, your constitutional rights, okay? So we are going to do 5 things this morning, right? I'm going to read the charges against you with the maximum possible penalties. We're going to talk a little more about your rights. Attorney Vachon is going to ask the court to enter a not guilty plea on your behalf, and the court is going to do that. You will then receive dates when you return back to court. And lastly, Attorney Vachon will speak on your behalf on bond or bail. Okay?
Understood, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. The most important thing I can tell you this morning is that you are innocent. You are innocent in the eyes of the law, and you remain innocent unless, not until, unless you plead guilty or found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt at trial. And I say unless because it's different than until. Until means something's going to happen sooner or later, right? We don't know what's going to happen in this case. You haven't seen the evidence. Attorney Vachon hasn't seen the evidence. The court hasn't seen the evidence. So we don't know. Now, that said, I'm going to read the charge against you, which is 1 count of reckless driving. And the specific allegation is that you did drive a vehicle upon a highway, US 127 and I-496, in willful or wanton disregard for the safety of persons or property. And this is contrary to Michigan law, MCL 257.626. This is a misdemeanor, carrying up to 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines. And this is alleged against the peace and dignity of the people of the state of Michigan. Now, you have certain rights. You have the right to an attorney, and today you are represented by Attorney Vachon. Attorney Vachon, will Mr. Ford be applying to your office for services?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so if you can't afford an attorney, Mr. Ford, the court will provide one for you, and I'm particularly proud of the superb public defenders we have in this court. Now, that said, if you win the Powerball or something and you were no longer financially eligible for a public defender, you, of course, can retain an attorney of your own choosing, and you would have to pay them. You have the right, as this case goes forward, to have it taken to a trial. And at that trial, the prosecutor would have to bring evidence against you. You could question that evidence. You could bring evidence, or you could just sit there, because it's the prosecutor's job to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You could testify at a trial, or you could remain silent. And if you remain silent, no one could use that silence against you. They couldn't say, well, Mr. Ford didn't have much to say for himself. No, you have a right to remain silent. That's what you choose. At this point, Attorney Vachon, do you believe Mr. Ford has an understanding of his rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
And how does Mr. Ford wish to plead?
Enter a not guilty plea.
Thank you, and the court will do that. So, Mr. Ford, first, a matter of housekeeping. And I don't want you to go into details, but is the Kingdon address accurate?
Yes.
Okay, so you will receive this information in writing, okay? You will return to court for a pretrial conference at 1:45 p.m. on February 1st. You'll return to court at 2 p.m. for a final pretrial conference on March 11th. You will return to court at 1 p.m. on March 12th for jury selection. Now, stay in touch with your attorney because these dates could change. There are some where you may need to be in the courthouse in person, some where you appear by Zoom. some where you may not need to appear at all. Attorney Vachon, would you like to be heard on bond or bail?
I would, Your Honor. I request a personal recognizance bond for Mr. Ford today. I don't believe that he is a flight risk. He did appear today as ordered. He's working. He's established in the community. He's a father, and he is presumed innocent at this time. So I'd request a PR bond.
Okay, and I am going to grant that PR bond, Mr. Ford. So that means personal recognizance. We take you at your word that you will show up, and I have no reason to doubt your word. But as I said at the beginning, this is a worst case scenario hearing. Courts exist because of worst case scenarios. So if for some reason you don't appear, a bench warrant will be issued for your arrest, and you'll have to post $500 to get out. So it's what we call a PR $500 bond. I'm going to put some other conditions on the bond. And some of these I feel kind of bad about, but we list them all up front. Particularly feel bad about number 2, but here goes. You may not leave the state of Michigan without prior permission of this court. Now, if you have plans to leave the state, we have a form that you or your attorney fill out and submit to the court. Okay? Number 2, do not commit any crime while released. Number 3, you must immediately notify this court in writing of any change of address or telephone number. Now, because I was a public defender, I got ghosted about every 7 minutes. You must also notify your attorney of any change of address or telephone number. You may not use alcohol, recreational marijuana, or any illegal controlled substance. If you have any prescriptions, you are to take all medication as prescribed or recommended or advised by your doctor. Do you have a medical marijuana card, sir?
I do not, Your Honor.
Okay, so you may not use marijuana at all while this is pending, and you may not apply for a marijuana card while this case is pending.
Understood, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Excuse me. You may not possess or purchase a firearm or other dangerous weapon. You may not use any object as a weapon. Excuse me. You may not engage in any assaulting, threatening, violent, intimidating, or stalking behavior toward anyone. You specifically may not have any contact with Stanley Michael Sibo, spelled S-I-B-O, Jr., Thomas Hindman, Rena Baxter, or Ryan Kutch, and you may not know who these people are. They may have been just bystanders who were interviewed by police. They're all listed as witnesses. So you may not have any contact with them. Excuse me. That includes third-party contact or messaging through through media services and apps. Okay. Attorney Vachon, have we covered it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so Mr. Ford, I'm going to tell you 3 things. First, the case will be back before me, and I sincerely wish you the best of luck as you work through this process.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Second, although you are a grown-up and a father, to me, you're still a young person. So I will say we see a lot of young or youngish people in this court for one bad experience once in their lives, and we never see them again. And that is my hope for you. Lastly, the most important thing you can do for yourself is ask questions whenever you have them. Okay? The court works kind of like the Catholic Church, and we have certain rituals we do and things we say that make perfect sense to us. It might not make any sense whatsoever to other people, or it might mean something different to someone else. Always ask your attorney, even if you are 99% sure. If you get that little voice saying, I'm not sure, ask your attorney. That will also help your attorney represent you better. Okay.
Understood, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. All right, Attorney Vachon, anything more for this record?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, that is all for this record. Thank you.